to not being able to experience all the things that kids normally experience. And so now you are fulfilling all of those
To
fantasies.
compensate, yes.
Really?
Yes, it's very true.
Do you think you can ever really recapture it, though? Does it feel the same? I mean, I don't know.
It's more fun. I
Is it
wouldn't
really?
change the past if I had to.
Would not.
I'm enjoying myself.
And here we are inside the theater. I had one too many sugar babies here the other day at the candy counter. But the candy's here for all the kids, and Pinocchio's here, and E.T.'s here. What's fascinating to me about you is that obviously you have this childlike aura about you. And I see children with you, and they play with you like you are one of them. But a child did not do this. A child did not put this together.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, this is really magnificent.
Well, thank you. I love to do things for children, and I try to imitate Jesus. And I'm not saying I am Jesus. I'm not saying
We're clear on that.
Right. I'm
We're
trying
clear.
to imitate Jesus in the fact that he said to be like children, to love children, to be as pure as children are, and to make yourself as innocent and see the world through eyes of wonderment and the whole magical quality of it all. And I love that. And we have we'll have like 100 balls.
What's up, everybody? Marty Martin here. This is the Geek Nerd podcast. I am your host. Well, one of the saddest days of my life happened 10 years ago when my ultimate person that inspires me as an artist passed away. And that is the legendary, iconic, loving Michael Jackson. Michael Joseph Jackson. And he was 50 years old. Man, he was gone too soon. He was gone too soon. That's young compared to a lot of legendary celebrities that live up to a longer lifetime. A lot of them live up till their 70s and 80s, or even late 80s too. But his death was definitely a shock. I remember where I was and what I was doing. I was at my house in the family room, and I was helping my mom with the laundry, and I was bringing the clothes in a basket. And my dad had the TV on, and he was watching the news report that Michael Jackson was sent to UCLA hospital. I got very concerned because I was like, wait, why are they reporting this story? He's going to the hospital. But then it occurred to me, if they're covering this, then he must be in serious critical condition. So, because it didn't sound like he was going there, of course, for, an injury like sprain his ankle, or get a broken leg, or a dislocated hip. Those are pretty intense injuries, but I didn't think it was going to be something like being brain dead. So that was a shock. And then I just remember I was sitting down on the steps of the hallway, and I was really nervous, and I was literally praying that he wouldn't die, that he was going to be okay. And then when Sam Shepard on Fox News confirmed by the LA Times that Michael Jackson died, I lost it. I really lost it. I went to my room, I closed the door, and I just jumped on the bed and on the mattress, and I just started crying. That was literally the first death that I actually felt serious pain of losing someone. It was weird. That's when I understood the intensity of the pain that it caused, because I was in my early teens when this happened, between 14 and 13 years old, and yeah, it really affected me. I mean, we had family members that passed away, not really close family members at the time. So I think that's what was the thing. I never had, close family members that passed away. But even though Michael Jackson, I never knew the person personally, he was basically the soundtrack of my life. I remember watching Moonwalker on VHS continuously. I just loved it. Moonwalker, some of the Dangerous music videos, and my brother would play some songs from the Dangerous album, and then on my brother's iPod, I would ask him for permission if I could listen to his iPod, because I didn't have one, and if I could listen to some music, and I would listen to Man in the Mirror. That was my favorite song, Man in the Mirror, and then Billie Jean, and then Beat It, and then I had him put a CD together for me from iTunes and put a compilation of some songs that also included Michael Jackson. So after he died, I went to, my mom got me the album Number Ones, the compilation number one hit albums of Michael Jackson. My mom got me that. And then finally, the very first album that I ever bought for myself was Bad. That was like a year after. That was the first album that I bought myself. And it's my all-time favorite album. I listened to that album from beginning to end. There's not one boring track, at least to me. Yeah, it was a big blow. And just thinking about it, reflecting back, it still kind of hurts. It's like you still can't believe he's gone. He'd be 60 right now. He'd be 60. He would be 61 in August 29th in this year, but he turned 60 last year. That's not even old right there. But you know what? As messed up as it sounds, I'm glad that he's not alive, because I believe he's in a peaceful place, because the world is so toxic right now, especially during the Me Too movement and how postmodernism has been affecting the people's outlook on the justice system. It's so skewed that Michael would have to go through all of this all over again. And I really believe that he would beat any accusation in court. I really believe in that. But he would continue to go through that. Can you imagine? Just go through that your entire life. So in a way, Michael would be suffering if he were alive here. I believe he's in a peaceful place, a peaceful realm. But today, what am I going to do? I'm going to listen to Bad, and then I'm going to watch Moonwalker in memoriam for Michael. So, also, I want to read some of it. So this is what I'm saying in the title of the video. I believe that Michael Jackson should have the respect and the admiration just as much as Martin Luther King Jr. I know, it sounds a bit extreme. Maybe, close to his level. Close to it. He made so much change, more than any other celebrity. Michael Jackson has done so much for the world. The media doesn't even believe in it because they never covered it. All they talked about was his surgeries, his drug addiction, weird statements he would make, and him being around children, and of course the accusations. That's all they would talk about. They would never talk about his humanitarian works, him being a philanthropist. They never covered that. And the man was incredible. Everything he does, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, Eminem, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, Madonna, all of these people did not do the charity work like how Michael did. Because literally that was most of his life, from the 80s till his death. It was all about healing the world. That was his life's mission. You see, these celebrities, they're all about their career. They're all about fame. They're all about becoming an icon. Michael, on the other hand, he wanted to be an icon, but he wanted to use that power and influence of a celebrity to help the world, to help people. He knew that he was an example. He wanted to be a good example. He wanted to do good to others so that way others could do the same thing. He wanted people in a way to mirror his philosophy that he got from, him being raised in the faith of Jehovah's Witnesses, and then also studying Christianity, his Judeo-Christian philosophy. He wanted everyone to do the same thing that he was doing. That was his whole mission. These other people, they don't do that. They don't do that. And whenever they do it always for publicity. Always. Most of the charity works that people have said that Michael has done was not in the public eye. Half of the things he did were on the public eye, but he never asked them to be in the public eye. He just happened to be there. Michael never asked for the immense amount of publicity that he got. It was just a consequence of becoming famous. It's really sad. It's really sad. It's a shame. So this is an article right here that a person, well, it's not an article, it's more like a blog, but this is what a person said on Huffington Post. As much as I hate Huffington Post, this blog right here really hits home. It says, over his lifetime, he reportedly gave $300 million to charity, including to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, the NAACP, UNICEF, and the Red Cross, among dozens of others. When you have seen the things I have seen and traveled all over the world, you would not be honest to yourself and the world to look away, Jackson said. This indeed was the point of his hit song, Man in the Mirror, which reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the spring of 1988. The song was about a personal awakening. It was about recognizing that change does not happen on its own. It requires that people become aware and they care about more than themselves and do something. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? Jackson sings. His performances of the song on the Bad World Tour were both the climactic finality of the show and its parting message. Make that change, he summoned his audiences. In an era often characterized by individualism, greed, and materialism, it was an anthem of conscience and responsibility. Jackson donated all of the proceeds of the song to Camp Ronald McDonald for Good Times, which assisted children suffering from cancer. Even more significant than giving money, however, Jackson gave his time. At nearly every stop on his Bad World Tour, he visited orphanages and hospitals. Just days before arriving in Vienna, while in Rome, he stopped by the Bambin Gesù Children's Hospital, handing out gifts, taking pictures, and signing autographs. Before leaving, he pledged a donation for over $100,000. Before a concert in London at Wembley Stadium, he visited Great Osmond Street Children's Hospital, the hospital to which author J.M. Barrie famously gifted the copyright and royalties for Peter Pan. Jackson spent hours talking to, holding, and comforting children at the hospital, some of whom were terminally ill. According to a local news story, the pop star sat some on his knee and told him stories. He also handed out dozens of presents, albums, photos, and t-shirts. Jackson donated £100,000 to the hospital. In addition, he left an undisclosed amount of money to the Wishing Well Fund to help the London's Hospital for Sick Children, which he also visited during his stay. Everywhere the tour traveled, Jackson tried to give back in some way. In Detroit, he donated $125,000 to the city's Motown Museum. In New York City, he gave $600,000 to the United Negro College Fund. In Japan, he gave $20,000 to the family of a young boy who was murdered, and hundreds of thousands more to hospitals and schools. When the tour was over, he auctioned off his personal items, and with all of the proceeds going to UNESCO. This was the man whom British tabloids had taken to calling Wacko Jacko, of whom People magazine, less than a year earlier, declared on the front cover, "He's back. He's bad. Is this guy weird or what?" Jackson's kindness and compassion was not good copy. If it made the news at all, it was usually buried behind stories about his plastic surgery or pet chimpanzee. Jackson's philanthropy on the Bad World Tour was not new. In 1984, after his hair infamously caught fire while filming a Pepsi commercial, Jackson established the Michael Jackson Burn Center as part of the Brotman Medical Center in Culver City, one of only a handful of badly needed burn centers in the Los Angeles area. He said, "I wanted to do something, because I was so moved by the other burn patients I met while I was in the hospital." Jackson suffered excruciatingly painful second-degree burns on his scalp, but the hospital staff remembers him spending much of his time visiting and comforting other patients. Jackson donated the entire amount he received from Pepsi for the accident, $1.5 million, to the burn center. That year, Jackson also donated all of his performance money from the Victory Tour to charity, an estimated $5 million. In 1985, Jackson joined the USA for Africa effort, helmed by actor and activist Harry Belafonte and music manager Ken Krager. Inspired by the UK charity work Band Aid and its musical vehicle Do They Know It's Christmas, Belafonte's vision was to bring American artists together for an urgent cause, to raise money and awareness for a famine in Ethiopia that was leaving hundreds of thousands of people, including young children, starving and destitute. The famine was caused by a combination of factors: a complicated civil war, a corrupt government, and one of the most severe regional droughts on record. By 1985, an estimated 1 million people had died, according to the United Nations. Belafonte reached out to producer Quincy Jones about putting together a song for USA for Africa. Jones, in turn, reached out to Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, and Michael Jackson. Since Stevie Wonder wasn't available, Jackson and Richie charged ahead. Jackson's goal was to write a simple melody that anyone could hum, across cultures and nations, even if they didn't understand the lyrics. For We Are the World, he remembers going into dark spaces, a closet or a bathroom, and trying to imagine the people in Ethiopia, their lives, their suffering, their humanity. When he came up with some notes, he had younger sister Janet listen in. "What do you see when you hear this sound?" he asked her. "Dying children in Africa," she responded. "You're right," Jackson responded. "That's what I was dictating from my soul." Jackson continued to develop the song with Richie in the ensuing days and weeks. By early January, he had recorded a solo demo and sent it to Quincy Jones. Jones loved what he heard. "A great last for eternity," the producer later reflected. "I guarantee you that if you travel anywhere on the planet today and start humming the first few bars of that tune, people will immediately know that song." Jackson skipped the American Music Awards that night and headed to the studio early to record his part. When the rest of the artists arrived, he, Lionel, Stevie, and Quincy helped them learn their individual parts and chorus. He characterized the creation and recording process as a spiritual experience. Most of those in attendance agreed. They describe a genuine sense of joy, unity, and purpose. Every second of that night was magical, remembers Quincy Jones. As artists, we are all just vessels of God's whispers, and I know God walked through the studio that night a couple of times. The final result, completed around 8:00 a.m., was a majestic, gospel-infused 7-minute anthem that weaved together the vocals of some of the greatest artists of the 20th century. The New York Times praised it as more than an unprecedented communal collaboration among pop music's elite for a good cause. It is an artistic triumph that transcends its official nature. Some critics, of course, scoffed at the self-righteousness of the charity event and the song, but Quincy Jones and Harry Belafonte were having none of it. Anybody who wants to throw stones at something like this can get off his or her butt and get busy, said Jones of his critics. Lord knows there's a plenty more to be done. What impressed Belafonte most was simply the willingness of its participants to use their talents for an important cause. Here you are with dozens of the best and most powerful artists in popular culture, who had relegated their managers to a place in Siberia, and as a consequence, here you are with dozens of the best and most powerful artists in popular culture who had relegated their managers to a place in Siberia, and as a consequence, it was completely art on art. That's an example of how charitable Michael Jackson was. So let me ask you this. Michael Jackson's hit songs, many of them, were very political, social, and even spiritual. And they were successful on the Billboard charts. Now, let's see, how long was Man in the Mirror on the Billboard charts? It says the song topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 2 weeks. This is what it says right here. It says it peaked at #1 in the United States when released in January 1988 as the 4th single from his 7th solo album, Bad. It was nominated for Record of the Year at the Grammy Awards. The song topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 2 weeks. The song peaked at #21 in the UK single charts in 1988. But in 2009, following the news of Jackson's death, the song peaked at #2, having re-entered the chart at 11 the previous week as his top song on the singles chart. It also became the #1 single in iTunes downloads in the US and the UK, having sold over 3 million digital copies in the former alone. That is amazing. And what are the lyrics of this song? Listen to the lyrics. I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. Another one says, I'm just skipping a few lines, some here. So it says, a summer disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, if you want to take a look at yourself and then make a change. I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize that there are some with no home, not a nickel to loan. Could it be really me, pretending that they're not alone? A willow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washed out dream. They follow the pattern of the wind you see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. That's amazing. Can you think, aside from Imagine by John Lennon, think of another song as powerful as this with these lyrics ever released in the Billboard Hot 100 as a #1 hit single? Let's look at some other songs that he's done. Let's see. What can we think of a song that was powerful by Michael Jackson? Let's check out Heal the World. So it says, Heal the World is a song recorded by American recording artist Michael Jackson from his 8th studio album Dangerous, 1991. It was released in 1992 as the 5th single from the album. It was written and composed by Jackson and produced by Jackson and Bruce Swedian. It peaked #4 in Austria, 20 in Australia, 3 in Belgium, number 4 in Canada for adult contemporary. Canada's top singles ranked at 21. In Europe, it was ranked number 3. In France, ranked number 2. Germany, 3. Ireland, 2. Italy, 14. Netherlands, 6. New Zealand, 3. So also, let's go down to the UK. The UK, it was number 2. US Billboard Adult Contemporary, number 9. US Billboard Hot 100, 27. US Hot R&B and Hip Hop Songs, 62. Mainstream Top 40, 21. US Cashbox Top 100, 26. Zimbabwe, number 2 for Heal the World. And what are the lyrics of Heal the World? Here they are. See, here are the lyrics of Heal the World. There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love, and this place could be much brighter than tomorrow. If you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you'll feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there. If you care enough for the living, make a little space, make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make it a better place for you and me. If you want to know why, there's love that cannot lie. Love is strong. It only cares of joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel. Fear of dread. We stop existing and start living. And the dream we were conceived in will reveal a joyful face. And the world we once believed in will shine again in grace. Then why do we keep strangling life, wound his earth, crucify its soul? Though it's pain to see, this world is heavenly, be God's aglow. But where do you hear this? Have you ever heard another song like this? Come on, guys. Okay, let's look up another track. Another song. Let's look up a spiritual album. Give us something that's more, I don't know, gospel. What do we got here? Something that's got some Christian gospel influence. Let's look at some of these songs. Let's look at the tracks. So let's check this out right here. Ooh, Black or White. Classic. Classic. Okay. How long was it on the charts for Black or White by Michael Jackson? Come on, let's check this out. Black or White is a single by American singer and songwriter Michael Jackson. The song was released by Epic Records on November 11, 1991 as the first single from his 8th studio album, Dangerous. Dangerous. He co-wrote, composed, and produced it with Bill Bottrell. Okay. Charts. Okay, it was number 1 in Australia, number 1 in Austria, number 1 in Belgium, number 3 in Canadian RPM Adult Contemporary, number 1, and again number 1 for Canada RPM Top Singles. Oh my gosh, Cuba, a communist country, ranked number 1 in Cuba's singles chart. Wow. Denmark, number 1. European Hot 100, number 1. Finland, number 1. France, number 1. Germany, number 2. Greece, number 1. Ireland, number 1. Israel, number 1. Japan, number 1. Mexico, number 1. Netherlands, number 3. Norway, number 1. Poland, number 1. Portugal, number 3. Spain, number 1. Sweden, number 1. Switzerland, number 1. Turkish singles charts, number 1. UK singles, number 1. US Billboard Hot 100, number 1. Zimbabwe singles chart, number 1. Number 1 single. World single, guys. And what are the lyrics? Let's look at the lyrics. It says, I took my baby on a Saturday bang. Boy, is that girl with you. Yes, we're one and the same. Now I believe in miracles, and a miracle has happened tonight. But if you're thinking about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white. They print my message in the Saturday Sun. I had to tell them I ain't second to none. And I told about equality, and it's true. Either you're wrong or you're right. But if you're thinking about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white. I am tired of this devil. I am tired of this stuff. I am tired of this business. So when the going gets rough, I ain't scared of your brother. I ain't scared of no sheets. I ain't scared of nobody. Girl, when the going gets mean. And then there's that stupid rap verse. And then he says, don't tell me you agree with me when I see you kicking dirt in my eye. But if you're thinking about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white. I said if, and then it goes, it's black, it's white, it's tough for them to get by, it's black and it's white. Come on, bro. Come on. What are some other songs? Will You Be There? Okay, this says, Will You Be There is a song by Michael Jackson which was released in 1993. The song is the 8th single from the 1991 album Dangerous. The song also appeared on the soundtrack to the film Free Willy. That was also one of the first songs I heard by Michael Jackson in Free Willy when I saw it as a kid. And I love that movie. Great movie. The song was one of the biggest hits from Dangerous, staying in the top 40 for over 6 weeks in the UK. The single achieved even greater success in the US, where it sold 1 million copies, and stayed in the top 10 for 6 weeks, peaking at number 7 and earning a platinum certification. So let's look at the other charts. Let's see. Number 3 in Canadian single chart, Dutch singles chart 3, European Hot 100 singles 3. French singles chart 29, German singles chart number 12, Irish charts 6, New Zealand 2, Polish 4, Swiss 11, the UK 9, the US Billboard Hot 100 number 7, US Billboard Pop Songs number 3. So still a hit song. It was still a crazy hit song. And what are the lyrics? Check this out. Hold me like the river Jordan, and I will then say to thee, you are my friend. The Bible heavily mentions the Jordan River. And let's not forget, Michael Jackson came from a devout Jehovah's Witness background, and then later on, it's obvious that he started studying Christianity. I mean, a lot of people that know him have said that. And then this song right here, let's just continue, okay? Carry me like you are my brother. Love me like a mother. Will you be there? When weary, tell me will you hold me? When wrong, will you mold me? When lost, will you find me? But they told me, a man should be faithful and walk when not able, and fight till the end, but I'm only human. Everyone's taking control of me. Seems that the world's got a role for me. I'm so confused, and will you show to me? You'll be there for me, and care enough to bear me. Check this out. In our darkest hour, in my deepest despair, will you still care? Will you be there? In my trials and my tribulations, through our doubts and frustrations, in my violence, in my turbulence, through my fear and my confessions, in my anguish and my pain, through my joy and my sorrow, in the promise of another tomorrow, I'll never let you part, for you're always in my heart. He's talking about God, guys. There are some fans who are saying, he's talking about us, he's talking about the fans. No, idiot. He's talking about God right here. He's talking about Jesus or Jehovah. This is obvious right here. Come on. Stop playing. Let's look at another song. What are some other songs? Yeah, guys, I'm going through a lot of songs right now. I'm going to keep the faith. Let's see. What else he got? Let's go to history. Let's go to the album history. History, yeah. Okay. Alright. Track listing. Track listing. What do we got here? We want volume 2. Okay. Scream. What does Scream say? The charts. Let's look at the charts. What are Scream lyrics? Let's read them. Tired of injustice. Tired of the schemes. Your lies are disgusting. What does it mean? Kicking me down. I gotta get up. As jacked as it sounds, the whole system sucks. Peek in the shadow. Come into the light. You tell me I'm wrong. Then you better prove you're right. You're selling out souls, but I care about mine. I've got to get stronger, and I won't give up the fight. With such confusion, does it make you want to scream? You're bash abusing victimized within the scheme. You try to cope with every lie they scrutinize. Somebody please have mercy, 'cause I just can't take it. Stop pressuring me. Just stop pressuring me. Stop pressuring me. Make me want to scream. You keep changing the rules while you keep playing the game. I can't take it much longer. I think I might go insane. With such confusion, does it make you want to scream? You're Bach abusing, victimized within the scheme. You find your pleasure scandalizing every lie. Oh, Father, please have mercy, 'cause I just can't take it. Oh my God, can't believe what I saw on the TV this morning. I was disgusted by all the injustice, all the injustice. With such delusions, don't it make you want to scream? You're bash abusing, victimized within the scheme. Man, these lyrics. Let's look at the charts. Number 2 in Australia. Number 9 in Austria. Let's look at the others. Number 3 in Belgium. Number 5 in Canada. Number 2 in Denmark. Number 1 in European Hot 100. Number 1 in Finland. Number 4 in France. Number 1 in Italy. Number 4 in Japan. Number 3 in the Netherlands. Number 4 in Netherlands Single Top 100. New Zealand, number 1. Norway, number 1. Poland, number 1. Scotland, number 6. South Africa, number 1. Spain, number 1. Sweden, number 8. Switzerland, number 1. UK singles, number 3. UK R&B, number 1. US Billboard Hot 100, number 5. US Billboard Hot R&B singles, number 2. US Billboard Hot Dance Club Play, number 1. Let's check out another song. Let's check out another one, guys. They Don't Care About Us. Listen to oh man, this song is so badass. This is a badass song though. Let's listen to this. Oh man. Ooh, this song is fire, guys. Oh man. Ooh, Michael wasn't playing around with this song. Nope, he wasn't. Ooh, I'm already getting chills just thinking about singing this. Okay, so this is known as one of Michael Jackson's most controversial songs. Well, hang on, let's give it a background story right here. Okay. So it says, They Don't Care About Us is the 5th single from Michael Jackson's album History, Past, Present, and Future, Book 1, released on June 16, 1995. The song is a protest song and remains one of the most controversial pieces Jackson ever composed. In the U.S., media scrutiny surrounding allegations of anti-Semitic lyrics were the catalyst for Jackson issuing multiple apologies and re-recording the song with altered lyrics. The singer countered allegations of anti-Semitism, arguing that reviews had misinterpreted the context of the song either unintentionally or deliberately. They Don't Care About Us was accompanied by 2 music videos directed by Spike Lee. The first one was shot in 2 locations, in Brazil and I ain't gonna read that title, that is so... the historic city Enter of Salvador, and in favela of Rio de Janeiro called Dona Marta, where the state's authorities had tried to ban all production over fears the video would damage their image, the area and prospects of Rio de Janeiro staging the 2004 Olympics. Still, the residents of the area were happy to see the singer, hoping their problems would be made visible to a wider audience. The second video was shot in a prison and contained video footage of multiple references to human rights abuse. Commercially, They Don't Care About Us became a top 10 hit in all European countries and number 1 in Germany for 3 weeks. Ho ho! In the US, radio stations were reluctant to play the controversial competition. It, however, managed to peak at number 30 on the Billboard Hot 100. Oh, wow! Okay, let's look at the lyrics, guys. Skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad. Situation, aggravation, everybody allegation. In the suit, on the news, everybody dog food, bang bang, shot dead, everybody's gone bad. Oh man, this is like rap bars. Ugh. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Beat me, hate me, you can never break me. With me, thrill me, you can never kill me. Sue me, everybody do me. Kick me, kike me, don't you black or white me. Oh man. Tell me what has become of my life. I have a wife and 2 children who love me. I am the victim of police brutality. Now I'm tired of being the victim of hate. You're rapping me of my pride, oh for God's sake. I look to heaven to fulfill its prophecy, set me free. Skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad. Trepidation, speculation, everybody, allegation, in the suit, on the news, everybody, dog food, black man, blackmail, throw your brother in jail. Oh, man. Bars. Ugh, Michael should have rapped this. Oh, man. If Michael rapped this track, I don't care how his voice would sound. You get respect in the hip-hop community. Oh, man. It may not even have to do with the flow, it's just the lyrics. Ooh. Tell me what has become of my rights. Am I invisible because you ignore me? Your proclamation promised me free liberty now. I'm tired of being the victim of shame. They're throwing me in a class within a bad name. I can't believe this is the land from which I came. You know I do really hate to say it. The government don't want to see, but if Roosevelt was living, he wouldn't let this be. No, no. Some things in life just don't want to see, but if Martin Luther was living, he wouldn't let this be. No, no, no. Fire. You know what I gotta say about that song? You know what I gotta say? Bars. That's how I would describe it. Definitely. Man, those lyrics were fire. Alright, what are some other tracks? Ooh. Okay, This Time Around. What does this song say? This Time Around is a song by American singer Michael Jackson from his 9th studio album, History Past, Present, and Future Book 1, featuring the rapper Notorious B.I.G. Hey! It was released as a promotional single in the US and is the album's 4th single overall. The song, which details a musician's problems with being famous and detailing with stardom, was written by Jackson, while the music was composed by Dallas Austin, Bruce Sweetein, and Renee Moore. Dallas Austin and Michael Jackson produced the song, while Bruce Sweetein and Renee Moore served as co-producers. This Time Around had a good chart performance, having... Oh, really? Let's look at the charts. How'd it go? Number 18, Billboard's Dance Music Club. So it was 18, 23, and 36 on Billboard charts. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. This Time Around. I love this song. This Time Around lyrics. Okay. This is what Michael said right here. This time around, I'll never get bit. Though you really want to fix me. This time around, you're making me sick. Though you really want to get me. Somebody's out to get me. They really want to fix me, hit me. But this time around, I'm taking no shit. Though you really want to get me, you really want to get me. Just to let you know, this is not Biggie Smalls' verse. This is Michael. Yes, Michael just dropped down shit. Dang. Michael was crossing boundaries. So he says, he really thought he really bad. He had a hold on me. He really thought he really had. They shouldn't, they really had control of me. They really thought he really had control of me. He really thought he really had. They thought really could control me. Whew, man. And let's hear Biggie's verse. This is Biggie's verse. Listen, I've got problems of my own. Flashing cameras, taps on my phone. Even in my home, I ain't safe as I should be. Things always missing me. Maybe it could be my friends. They ain't all friends if they ain't friends if they robbing me. Stopping me from making a profit, see. Apology shallow like the ocean. I guess I'll resort to gun toting. If I was dead, broke, and smoking, I'd probably be my lonesome. I'm a killer nigga. I ain't joking. Endo smoke of got me choked and I'm hoping the fool come slipping so I could blow him open. This time around I changed up my flow, got rid of the rocks, got pits by the door. I've raised other peoples to watch my back, stay away from strangers so I won't slack, and I know my nigga Mike like that, baby. Whoo! Oh man, he just called Michael Jackson his nigga. Ooh. Oh man. This album was crazy. Ooh. Tabloid Junkie. Ooh, let's check out Tabloid Junkie. Tabloid Junkie. Alright. Tabloid Junkie is a song performed by American recording artist Michael Jackson. The song appeared as the 11th track on Jackson's 9th studio album entitled History Past, Present, and Future Book 1, which was released in 1995 as a 2-disc set. The song was written, composed, and produced by Michael Jackson, Jimmy Jam, and Terry Lewis. The song received generally positive reviews from music critics. Tabloid Junkie is a funk rock song with lyrics that pertain to media bias and negative coverage of rumors about Jackson and his personal life. Similar to previous songs recorded by Jackson, Tabloid Junkie is the 7th song on History to be aimed at the media. Oh yeah, let's look at the lyrics. Tabloid Junkie. Let's hear these. So he says, speculate to break the one you hate, circulate the lie you confiscate, assassinate and mutilate, the hounding media in hysteria. Who's the next for you to resurrect? JFK exposed the CIA. Truth be told, the grassy knoll, the blackmail story in all your glory. It's slander. You say it's not a sword, but with your pen you torture men, you'd crucify the Lord, and you don't have to read it, and you don't have to eat it, to buy it is to feed it, so why do we keep fooling ourselves? Just because you read it in a magazine, or see it on the TV screen, don't make it factual. Though everybody wants to read all about it, just because you read it in a magazine, or see it on the TV screen, don't make it factual. Actual, they say he's homosexual. In the hood, frame him if you could, shoot to kill, to blame him if you will. If he dies, sympathize, such false witnesses, damn self-righteousness, in the black, stab me in the back, in the face, to lie and shame the race, heroin and Maryland, and headline stories of all your glory. Just because you read it on a magazine or see it on the TV screen don't make it factual. See, but everybody wants to believe all about it. Just because you read it in a magazine or see it on the TV screen don't make it factual, actual. She's blonde and she's bisexual. Scandal with the words you use. You're a parasite in black and white. Do anything for news. And you don't go and buy it. Then they won't glorify it. To read it sanctifies it. Why do we keep fooling ourselves? Slander. You say it's not a sin, but with your pen you torture men. Then why do we keep fooling ourselves? Then the last one, just because you read it in a magazine or see it on the TV screen don't make it factual. Just because you read it in a magazine or see it on the TV screen don't make it factual. Just because you read it in a magazine or see it on the TV screen don't make it factual, actual. You're so damn disrespectable. Ugh. Okay, Mike. Okay. Alright, let's go. Let's see. Okay, alright, okay, let's see. Earth Song. Let's check out Earth Song. Earth Song is a song by American singer Michael Jackson from his 9th studio album, History Past, Present, and Future Book 1. It was released on November 27, 1995 as the 3rd single from the album. It is a ballad that incorporates elements of blues, gospel, and opera. Jackson had a long history of releasing socially conscious material such as We Are the World, Man in the Mirror, Heal the World. However, Earth Song was the first that overtly dealt with the environment and animal welfare. Earth Song was made for the Dangerous album, but it failed to make the final cut. The song was written by Jackson and produced by Jackson, David Foster, and Bill Bottrell. Earth Song was accompanied by a lavish music video shot in 4 geographical regions. The video centered on the destruction and rebirth of Earth and went on to receive the Grammy nomination in 1997. The song went #1 in the United Kingdom and was the nation's #1 Christmas single in 1995. It also topped the charts in Germany, Iceland, Italy, Scotland, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland, while peaking at #2 in France, Ireland, and the Netherlands. Jackson went to receive recognition from various animal environmental organizations. Let's look at the lyrics. Lyrics! Let's check this out. So this is a hit song, keep in mind. This is a hit song with these lyrics. What about sunrise? What about rain? What about all the things that you said we were to gain? What about killing fields? Is there a time? What about all the things that you said were yours and mine? Did you ever stop to notice all the blood we've shed before? Did you ever stop to notice this crying earth, these weeping shores? What have we done to the world? Look what we've done. What about all the peace that you pledged your only son? What about flowering fields? Is there a time? What about all the dreams that you said was yours and mine? Did you ever stop to notice all the children dead from war? Did you ever stop to notice this crying earth, these weeping shores? I used to dream. I used to glance beyond the stars. Now I don't know where we are, although I know we've drifted far. Hey, what about yesterday? What about the seas? The heavens are falling down. I can't even breathe. What about apathy, drowning in the seas? What about the promised land, preaching what I believe? What about the Holy Land? What about the greed? Where did we go wrong? Someone tell me why. What about baby boy? What about the days? What about all their joy? Do we give a damn? That's a hit song, guys. No artist has done this. No artist has done this. Let's check out the track for History. History. The original version. History is a 1995 song by Michael Jackson. The original version of History was released as a track on Jackson's 1995 studio album, History, but was never released as a single. History was composed by Michael Jackson, James Harris III, and Terry Lewis before it was remixed by Tony Moran in 1997. The original version contained many historic audio clips and samples. The remix does not have the audio clips and samples. The remix was released as part of the single release History and Ghosts, a double A-side single from Michael Jackson's 1997 remix album Blood on the Dance Floor, History in the Mix, with Ghosts as a brand new recording. Okay, what were the charts? So it wasn't that high on the charts, so highest one, number 9 in Italy, number 4 in Scotland, number 4 in Spain, number 12 in Sweden, and number 5 in UK singles. So, what are the lyrics for History? No, I don't want One Direction. I want Michael Jackson. He got kicked in the back. He said that he needed that. He not willed in the face, keep daring to motivate. He said one day you will see his place in world history. He dares to be recognized, the fire's deep in his eyes. How many victims must there be slaughtered in vain across the land? And how many struggles must there be before we choose to live the prophet's plan? Everybody sing. Every day create your history. Every path you take, you're leaving your legacy. Every soldier dies in his glory. Every legend tells of his conquest and liberty. Don't let no one get you down. Keep moving on higher ground. Keep flying until you are the king of the hill. No force of nature can break. Your will to self-motivate. She say this face that you see is destined for history. How many victims? Okay, so that's the lyrics right there for History right there. Oh my gosh. And then last one, that was never released. It's an unreleased track. This one by Michael Jackson. This one made me cry, too. Love was taken from a young life. No one told her why. Her direction was a dim light from one more violent crime. She innocently questioned why her father had to die. She asked the men in blue, how is it that you get to choose who will live and who will die? Did God say that you could decide? You saw he didn't run, and that my daddy had no gun. In the middle of a village within a distant land lies a cool boy with his broken toy. Too young to understand, he's awake and ground is shaking. His father grabs his hand, screaming, crying, his wife's dying. Now he's left to explain. He innocently questioned why his mother had to die. Why did these soldiers come here for? If they're for peace, why is there war? Did God say that they could decide who will live and who will die? All my mama ever did was try to take care of her kids. When innocence is standing by, watching people losing lives, it's time for us to, it seems as if we have no voice. It's time for us to make a choice. Only God could decide who will live and who will die. There's nothing that can't be done if we raise our voice as one. They've got to hear it from me. They've got to hear it from you. They've got to hear it from us. We can't take it. We've already had enough. Michael Jackson, man. There's no other artist like him. No one that wrote songs like this, that broke those records. Had it not been for Michael Jackson crossing over to the white radio stations that heavily segregated artists by not allowing them to perform on their stations and on their television screens. So people are always like, well, what's the big deal about that? What's the big deal? You know, whether you care about MTV or not, like, it has nothing to do with Michael Jackson having his music played on the radio, having more access to all people, but it was fighting against racism, segregation within the music industry and the television as well, and the network industry. It was a big problem back then. Michael broke through that because he was so talented, had a beautiful voice too, that you couldn't deny his talent and keep him away from crossing over. I mean, when he performed on television, white people loved his. Most of his fans were white when you see him at his concerts. White people and Europeans and white people, they wanted to hear Michael's music more. And then Michael was doing music videos that he wanted to make them cinematic and more like movies. And he thought that MTV would be the right place to do it because it was the #1 music television station. There was no other station like it. So, I mean, for those of you that don't understand or how was it racist back then, that don't understand why it's a big deal, you know, mainly and most of these people are white too, and I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but it's a fact that a lot of white people just don't understand how bad racism was, because racism is not something that is being seen from the outside, but also experiencing it. Racism is an experience, not so much as a displayment or being displayed. So that's the difference. And you know, fighting against, because all the music artists today, and even if you don't like them or not, you know, there's more freedom. All the music artists today, people of color, they would not be where they are had it not been for Michael Jackson. Every single artist ended up being on MTV and non-black television stations had it not been for Michael Jackson crossing over. And Prince as well. He did what Jackie Wilson and James Brown and Sammy Davis Jr. couldn't do. And Michael did it. And Michael also inspired many film directors too. Inspired many of them. He even inspired people such as John Singleton or Spike Lee, I can't think of. There are many other directors that have stated that Michael Jackson's music videos played a major part, their inspiration of wanting to be film directors. You know, it was very important. And I don't think a lot of people don't realize the importance of Michael Jackson. The thing is, what I don't understand, it's hypocritical. Elvis Presley is seen as an American icon. Jerry Lewis, Frank Sinatra, they're seen as these iconic, basically treated like American legends, but Michael Jackson doesn't get it. James Brown doesn't get it. Jackie Wilson doesn't get it. Matter of fact, Michael Jackson has made a larger impact, not just for America, but for the world too, more than Elvis Presley. People know more about Michael Jackson than Elvis Presley. Michael Jackson was the most famous human being in the world, one of the most famous ones. I mean, again, they played his music in communist Cuba. Unbelievable. There was a video where in there was a documentary that journalists did in North Korea, and they were asking them, do they know anything about American culture? And they said they don't. And the guy asked them, do you know who Michael Jackson is? They all said, yeah. How is that possible? Like, wow. How did Michael Jackson cross over to North Korea? I'm guessing Kim Jong-un or Kim Il-jong, whatever, basically permitted their citizens to listen to Michael Jackson. I mean, the father of Kim Jong-un was an Elvis Presley fan, a diehard fan. Maybe he was a Jackson fan too. Yeah, this is something that David Bowie said regarding, racism in MTV.
You know, all right. It occurred to me, having watched MTV over the last few months, that it's a solid enterprise, and it's got a lot going for it. I'm just floored by the fact that there's so few black artists featured on it. Why is that?
I think that we're trying to move in that direction. We want to play artists that seem to be doing music that fits into what we want to play for MTV. The company is thinking in terms of narrow casting.
That's evident. It's evident in the fact that the only few black artists that one does see are on about 2:30 in the morning or to around 6. Very few are featured predominantly during the day.
No, that's a...
I'll say that over the last couple of weeks these things have been changing, but it's a slow process.
I know, it's funny, I think people have different perceptions. When you wind up watching, let's say you watch an hour or 2 or even 3 a day, people somehow come away with different ideas about what we are doing. We don't have any kind of day parting for anything, let alone a black artist day parted out of what would be, quote, prime time. We don't have that.
Because one sees a lot there's one black station on television that I keep picking up. I'm not sure which station it's on, but there seem to be a lot of black artists making very good videos that I'm surprised aren't used on MTV.
Well, of course, also we have to try and do what we think not only New York and Los Angeles will appreciate, but also Poughkeepsie or Midwest. Pick some town in the Midwest that will be scared to death by Prince, which we're playing, or a string of other black faces.
That's
and black
very
music.
Interesting. Isn't that interesting?
You know, we have to play the music that we think an entire country is going to like, and certainly we're a rock and roll station now. The question would be asked, well, since we're in New York, should PLJ play, the Isley Brothers? Well, you and I might say, yeah, because we have grown up in an era when the Isley Brothers mean something to me, and so do the Spinners, even way after the Isley Brothers. But what does it mean to a 17-year-old? Well, if you talk on the phones to these guys like I did when I was in radio, it's
Well,
scary.
I tell you what it means. I tell you what maybe the Isley Brothers or Marvin Gaye means to a black 17-year-old.
Ah.
And surely he's part of America as well.
No
isn't he?
question, no question. And that's why you're seeing those things.
Do you
happen
not
on
find that
TV.
it's a frightening predicament to be in?
Yeah, but less so here than in radio.
And is it not? Well, no, don't say. Well, it's not me, it's them. Is it?
No,
Is
well, that's why
Is
I-
it not possible that it should be a conviction of the station and of other radio stations? To be fair, it does seem to be rampant through American media. Should it not be a challenge to try and make the media far more integrated in
I
those
think
in
it's
music,
happening.
especially of anything in musical terms?
Absolutely, I think it's happening. because white music and white musicians are now starting to play more than ever, more than they have lately, let's say, in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
What black artists have been into. And now, hopefully, the lines are going to start to blur. And when we play a band like ABC,
Yeah.
well, there's white and black kids who are enjoying it, and all of a sudden, well, it's a little bit easier for a white kid to understand it. The fact is, quite frankly, I could even point you towards a letter in the new issue of The Record,
Yeah.
the magazine The Record, responding to an article by Dave Marsh, that this kid just ranted about what he didn't want to see on MTV.
Well, that's his
And in
problem.
no uncertain terms, well, what I'm saying, though, is that there's, as you say, there's certainly a lot of black kids and white kids who may want to see black music. There's a ton of them who are, it's not like it was in '67 where you say, yeah, I'm not into that, you know, but you are, yeah. Now it's, you're into that, I don't like you. And that's scary, and we can't just turn around and go, well, look, this is the right way. We can only teach, I think, a little bit at a time.
Interesting. Okay, thank you very much.
Does that make sense? Valid point?
I understand your point of view.
Okay.
Do you see anything here that'll give you any enjoyment?
No, I don't want your presents. It's just great that I've seen you. Really.
You don't like to play games?
I like to play games here.
There's Yahtzee.
Yeah, that's cool.
I play games all day.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great
Thank
meeting
you.
you.
What do you think of these fans?
I love them.
Yes? Why did you come here to visit this fans especially?
Because I love the children.
Receive this. This is the key to the Michael Jackson room.
This is for you.
Thank you.
And I'll sign a picture for you too.
Bernie was into the Queen Elizabeth Hospital to see the kids.
Picture you have a pen?
I do. Here you go. Michael, this is Kurt Nimenhurst, one of her doctors.
Hi, how are you? Hi, I'm fine. You watching soap operas, huh?
You want some music, huh? Want some music? What was your name? What is it? Levon.
And I like it. Can you do one of those moves for me? Sure you can.
Oh, here we go. Nice shot. You ready? I think you're smiling here, too. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Enjoy it.
My name is
Can you do one of moves for me?
He's rested. He's
I get
rested.
embarrassed.
You stay in the hayback mall.
William, it's really no big deal. You don't have to be embarrassed. Thank you.
I just want to be there for you
No better.
whenever you need me.
I'm sitting on this side with a shot of it.
Is that yours? Sam. You ain't gonna do one of those. Pardon? They want the moves for me?
Yes.
Why your move? One of mine? Yeah.
Oh, you're too shy. Believe it
Charm
or
around
not.
that.
You'll dance with it.
No, I
Here we go.
won't.
On three. 1, 2. Really nice. Nice. Thank you very much.
Are we blind to the fact that our children are raging against the indifference, crying out against the abandonment, of thundering against the neglect? Heal the Kids is about doing something about making a difference and trying to help adults and parents realize that it is our power to change the world that our children live in. Who among us would have believed that the sound of children at their playgrounds would be replaced by the sound of automatic machine gun fire at our schools? That the sound of little girls skipping rope would be overshadowed by the frantic shrills of children dodging bullets? Yet, instead of loving our children more, we installed metal detectors in our school.
With our deep appreciation of your wonderful spirits of giving and sharing through your humanitarian and philanthropic work toward AIDS and now disabled children of Africa, we take, as you know, in Africa, when you have a guest, care about him.
This is beautiful. This is a wonderful occasion. I thank everybody who came tonight and all the women of Africa. And I want you to know that I've been going to Africa since I was 12 years old, and I loved it very much. And I take my children there all the time for vacation. It's our favorite spot for vacation, actually. The evening is one of honor. And to the ambassador of Ethiopia, to the excellencies. I love you too. There are two things which the NAACP stands for, which are the most important things in my life: freedom and equality. In every person there is a secret song in their heart. It says, I am free. It sings, I am one. This is the natural feeling of every child, to be free as the wind, to be one with every other child. All the troubles in the world is caused by forgetting this feeling. And when I perform, my connection is with people. It's just to remind me of that, to be free and to be one. In this spirit, the NAACP has done its cherished work. Thank you for having the faith to see that I share your work, for I deeply feel I do. I accept this award on behalf of the world's healing, when all our brothers and sisters will be as free and equal as we are today. I love you so much, and I'm very honored, and thank you for this award. Thank you so much.
Von Nervosität keine Spur. Die Verabschiedung ist herzlich. Nicht nur die Sachsen, auch der Superstar hat seine anfängliche Scheu verloren. Heiko ergreift das Wort.
Mr. Jackson, wir möchten uns ganz recht herzlich bedanken bei Ihnen für das Kommen hier zu Ihnen nach Neverland und zu Ihnen persönlich nach Hause. Und wir können nur hoffen, dass weiterhin Ihre Karriere so schön bleibt und weiterhin viel Erfolg und alles Gute.
Der Übersetzer hilft Susanne mit den noch fehlenden Worten.
Super, ganz toll. Ich finde es echt super. Vielen Dank. Echt klasse, wie Sie sich für die Children einsetzen. Super. Thank you.
In the way you act for children,
I love that.
Ich liebe
I'm not going to talk too long because we have the demonstration at Sony, as you know. This is very important because throughout the years, black artists have been taken advantage of. And it's time now that we have to put a stop to this incredible injustice. And like Mrs. Sharpton was saying, people from James Brown to Samuel Davis Jr., some of the real pioneers that inspired me to be the entertainer that I am. These artists are always on tour because if they stopped touring, they would totally go broken. And it's been, the record companies really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists. Yeah. Yes, and Sony Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very devilish. Yes. So I need your support, not just for me. When you fight for me, you're fighting for all black people. Dead and alive. It seems to me, I really believe it's a conspiracy because the story always ends the same. We pioneer, we innovate, you know, at the end of the story, you know, it's not an accident. It's happened on purpose. So we have to put an end to it forever. Yes, sir. Love you, thank you.
Mahatma Gandhi knew how important bringing the world's attention was to gaining freedom for India without using any weapons. In some ways, he was the first person to truly understand the importance and power of the public. He has always been an inspiration to me, and it gives me even greater joy and pride to be recognized by his people. I am here today, inspiration from my Hinduja, Mr. Hinduja, and your lovely family. I love you very much. We have the same mission to bring world peace. Kamal Dandana has created a great show. Manish, thank you for your wonderful costume. I appreciate it very much. I love you all. Thank you.
Pop singer Michael Jackson greeted thousands of U.S. troops and their families at a U.S. Army base south of Tokyo on Saturday. Jackson took the opportunity to deliver a message of gratitude to the servicemen and women at Camp Zuma.
And it is because of you in here today and others who so valiantly have given their lives to protect us that we enjoy our freedom. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
The 48-year-old singer posed for photos.
1, 2, 3.
Army
strong!
Wow.
And even lent a hand during a ceremony as a member of the Army received a promotion. The appearance was a perfect opportunity for this sailor to pay homage to the king of pop.
Written by Jennings Michael Birch. And Michael has wanted to co-direct the movie. Michael had a book called They Cage the Animals at Night, written by Jennings Michael Birch. And Michael has wanted to co-direct the movie. So I actually wrote the screenplay, which we optioned to Icon, which is Mel Gibson's company. And at one point, Michael and I flew Jennings Michael Birch, the author of the book, who had a chance to come to Neverland and meet myself for the first time, and then of course meet Michael for the first time. Jennings brought Doggy, which is a stuffed animal that was his only confidant, his only friend while he was growing up. It's a very sentimental piece to him. I sat Michael and Jennings down and had Michael interview Jennings about his life story and about the book. which is a very, very touching interview. It's footage in a light that people have never seen Michael in, where he's actually interviewing somebody and not being the person being interviewed.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
With all the pain and the stress and the pressure that you had to cope with, did you ever, in your childhood, think about it's not worth it? Did you ever try and...
Suicide.
Suicide, yeah.
Definitely.
You
Definitely.
did.
You know, the feeling, because I know you and Brian are going to do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be like...
I can relate to it.
It's going to
totally.
be taken from the book right to the screen. You brought me Ben. You brought me Ben.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Will we always be friends? Will we always be friends? Will we?
Promise. Promise. We're the same.
Thank you so much.
We're the same. I understand you. I understand you.
Thank you so much.
Very much. Thank you.
Very sad demise for Michael Jackson, and sadly missed, and right on the brink of a huge comeback as well, and a huge comeback tour that had been booked in. Most people, of course, knew him as Jacko. A lot of people bought the album, the Thriller album, selling over 50 billion copies. You knew Michael Jackson, so how would you actually remember him at this point?
You know, there's a saying in Buddhism that there's a form of enlightenment called Bodhisattva, and this is where somebody, in some ways, defers their reaching nirvana for the good of others, or in some ways to alleviate the suffering of others. And when we look at Michael, you know, this is somebody who in 1983 took the total proceeds of his victory tour and gave them to the people of Africa. In 1984, we seen when he co-wrote We Are the World with Lionel Richie, that sold 22 million copies, one of the biggest selling things of all time, and he gave it to the starving people of Africa. He turned around in 1993 at the end of the Dangerous tour. This was 67 concerts. It was 18 months' work, and he gave every single penny of it away again to the Heal the World Foundation, which was to the people of Africa. In 1999, you remember when he had that big tour with Alicia Keys and Slash and, of course, Maria Carey, he turned around once again and gave all that over to the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. In, I suppose, my lifetime, and I've lived nearly half a century, there are 5 people I can count with one hand that would have achieved this level of enlightenment. John Lennon, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Bono, probably I'd put there as well, and Michael Jackson. The difference with Michael Jackson was that, you know, as a global messenger, not only did he do what the rest of them did, but he went and involved himself in things outside this, you know, poverty, racism, and if we listen to his music today, it is just phenomenal, the goodness of the person.
Breadth and reach of it. How did you meet him? How did
I meet Michael originally? Well, it's funny, Michael had sort of wanted to introduce himself through some agents, and when he met the first day, you know, sort of he came into the clinic, and he put out his hand to me and he says to me, I want to thank you for helping the people of Africa. And then he turned around and he said to me, he pulled out an old, you know, sort of thing, which I don't have the actual one here, but a magazine. When I had left Iraq in 1990, and, you know, I'd been a prisoner of Saddam Hussein at a period for venturing into Kurdistan, I had wanted to work down in South Africa and didn't want to work there until after the 20th of February 1990, when Nelson Mandela had been released from jail. I made my way down through Africa, and, you know, I wrote a sort of quite a long sort of thing called The Silence of Savannah, and really what it was in many ways was watching, you know, the villages where HIV was beginning to devastate it. And this is what he read out to me. He says, later we passed many empty villages, abandoned stores and vacant huts that are a testament to the destructive power of the plague whose path we follow. There's an eeriness about the deserted hamlets, and in the restless winds that stir the blue savanna grasses, I listen expectantly to hear the noise of barking dogs or the distant sound of children playing, and no sound comes. And he turned around and he said, you know, I cried when I read that. And then he turned around and he threw his arms around me and says, we must do something for the people of Africa together.
And it just began from there. How do you think, though, Patrick, that, like, you know, it came... people remember the allegations, you know, the child hanging over the balcony, the serious allegations and charges that were brought against them. They don't remember all of this good stuff. Why is that?
I think in some ways that Michael was a creation of the media, and often the media didn't even want to hear the truth about Michael. Now I'm in a situation at the moment where the media are chasing me from both America and from the UK, and in many ways they want me to, you know, put out some dirt on Michael or whatever, and you know, it doesn't really exist. And in many ways, if we even look at the trial in Santa Maria, and I was chatting to Tom Mezzanow about this recently, I mean, the media were willing to pay the jurors to write, you know, sort of things that didn't even exist as well. And if you go through, you know, sort of the jurors who were involved, it really is incredible. Aphrodite Jones phoned me from New York yesterday, and Aphrodite was one of the media persons who were against it. And she wanted me to appear in a show in New York recently where she's totally convinced now that it was a total setup. I mean, what they wanted to do, of course, was hound him to death, to crucify him, to follow him in jail.
What do you think happened at the end?
With Michael?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the theory at the moment, which is probably the truthful one, is that AEG, the company involved, may have pushed his doctor to the extent that because he wasn't turning up for performances and that they wanted to get him technically to cure his insomnia, which Michael had to an extent, and of course a lot of drugs were given to him. And now I know for a fact, and this is where Dublin will probably sit on the path to the trial, that Michael wouldn't involve himself in any of the drugs mentioned without the presence of anaesthetist. And certainly I was in Michael's house 2 days before he met the Queen.
Do you think then he actually ingested this without realising what it was? He was told
I don't think he did himself at all.
That somebody
Absolutely
injected?
not. Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, Michael was not the sort of person who would in any way
So
sort of, you know.
do you think he put his trust in somebody and somebody abused that trust then? Or do you think he was actually asleep when he was injected?
I think we got to realise that, you know, Conrad Murray is a stalking horse here. You know, what is involved is a payout of insurance. AEG is to pay out 85 million for ticket sales alone. They pay out another 25 for merchandise. And in a lot of situations, Sony obviously have insurance things there as well. If it was proven that Michael was culpably responsible for his own death or died of natural causes, then it's quite possible the payout wouldn't happen. So let's not fool ourselves here. This is a $150 million lawsuit.
Big business at stake.
You know, in a Trojan horse of some doctor who may have killed him.
What's your happiest memory of Michael Jackson?
You know, there's many happy memories. I remember when Michael used to come into the clinic all the time. We have a big glass room in the clinic, and Michael used to fill all his pockets up with all our most expensive, you know, sort of cosmeceuticals. And I'd catch him, you know, sort of going out the door. He wasn't stealing them. He just was so rich. It was part of, you know, the way he did it, you know. And I'd sort of stop him and sort of say, okay, leave this back, leave this back, leave this back. And then one night we were sort of down in his house, and I had a nice jacket that sort of my mother had got me, and Blanket had got it and fallen asleep on the sofa and put it over himself. And I turned around and was looking for my jacket and couldn't figure out where it was, you know. And I was looking for it everywhere. And then Michael came out sheepishly where he'd taken it from the child. He says, Sir Patrick, he takes after his father, you know.
On that note, Patrick, thank you very much for sharing those memories this morning with us.
In the past month, I've gone from where is he to here he is again. But I must confess it feels good to be thought of as a person, not as a personality. Because I don't read all the things written about me. I wasn't aware that the world thought I was so weird and bizarre. But when you grow up, as I did, in front of 100 million people since the age of 5, you're automatically different. The last few weeks, I have been cleansing myself, and it's been a rebirth for myself. It's like a cleansing spirit. I love you too. My childhood was completely taken away from me. There was no Christmas, there was no birthdays. It was not a normal childhood. No normal pleasures of childhood. Those were exchanged for hard work, struggle, and pain, and eventual material and professional success. But as an awful price, I cannot recreate that part of my life, nor would I change any part of my life. However, today, when I create my music, I feel like an instrument of nature. I wonder what delight nature must feel when we open our hearts and express our God-given talents. The sound of approval rolls across the universe, and the whole world abounds in magic. Wonder fills our hearts for what we have glimpsed for an instant, the playfulness of life. And that's why I love children and learned so much from being around them. I realized that many of our world's problems today, from the inner city crime to large-scale wars and terrorism and our overcrowded prisons, are a result of the fact that children have had their childhood stolen from them. The magic, the wonder, the mystery, and the innocence of a child's heart are the seeds of creativity that will heal the world. I really believe that. What we I love you too. What we need to learn from children isn't childish. Being with them connects us to the deeper wisdom of life, which is ever present and only asked to be lived. They know the way to solutions that lie waiting to be recognized within our own hearts. Today I would like to thank all the children of the world, including the sick and deprived. I am so sensitive to your pain. I also want to thank all those who have helped me to channel my talent here on earth. From the beginning, my parents, all my brothers and sisters, especially Janet. I am so proud of her. It's incredible. I mean, I remember when we were little, I used to ask her to be Ginger Rogers while I was Fred Astaire. The Motown family, my teacher, Berry Gordy, Diana Ross, I love you. Suzanne DePaz, the wonderful, great Quincy Jones, Teddy Riley, my new godson, Michael Gibb, my new Sony family, Aiko Morita, Mickey Schulhoff, Tommy Mottola, Dave Glue, Polly Anthony. Thanks for making one of my most creative efforts, the album Dangerous, such an incredible success. I love you all so much. Sandy Gallen, Jim Morey, all the fantastic fans around the world. I love you very much.